Looking for ways to get more listings? Well, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about 5 ways that you can get more listings in your business. Welcome to Real Estate Marketing and Coffee. I'm your host, Ed Troxell, with
Amanda Condyles.
yes, and we are here live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific to give you the latest rundown in the market, business, marketing, tech, all the things. We're bringing
All the
together
things.
our worlds. Amanda, give them a quick little clip of your life, of your world, where your background is.
Yeah, so my background focuses on client nurture solutions. So basically, helping agents fill that gap between the business that's closing now and then the business that has already closed that obviously you want to stay in touch with. So those people become clients for life. So we help agents really develop those strategies so that they can get that repeat business on an ongoing basis.
Yes. And so Amanda and I connected a while back to do this show, and I'm bringing the video marketing aspect to the table. So we'll be talking about video marketing tips. If you're just joining us or watching the replay, be sure to say hello and tell us where you're tuning into us from. And so I'll bring the video marketing and the social media side of things. And so together we'll be sharing different tips throughout each episode. And in today's episode, we'll be talking about the 5 ways you can get more listings.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions at any time or just want to give us a shout out, be sure to do so in the comments down below, wherever you're tuning into us from, and we'll be sure to connect with you. So, Amanda, we've talked about number one. Let's just dive right into it. We've talked about number one before on the show. What's the number one on our list today for the 5 ways to get more listings?
Yeah, number one is just diving into both your personal and professional network. And in my opinion, and in my line of work, this and probably yours too, this is the easiest way to get listings, right? And to get leads and really just connections. I mean, these are the people who already know you. Hopefully they love you and trust you. And so this is a really I almost want to call it low-hanging fruit because you don't have to sell them on you. They already know you. And hopefully you're a good enough person that they like you.
Right, right. And that's the importance of being active both in your in reality and as well as online, right? Is being active and really being able to connect with
Mhm.
people and do that networking, which here I'm already going to throw out a bonus tip here because this is what happens.
Same to you. Here it
Um,
is.
there are so many different ways to network, especially online these days. One that I have been enjoying is called Lunch Club. I
Yep.
know we've talked about it a couple times. Lunch Club is a free option for those of you who are interested. Feel free to check that out. If you need a link, just let me know and I'll share it with you. But that's a great way
Mhm.
to make networking almost effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they seriously just make it so that you're literally saying, yes, I'm available. No, I can't
Mhm.
make this. And then they pair you up with the most amazing people. And so that's a bonus tip for anyone who's looking for networking opportunities online.
And I'll say this about networking. I used to be so intimidated by networking because it felt like sales to me. And really, when I started to shift my mindset and perspective of networking is really just building a relationship and a connection. And if there is a potential win-win where you need my help and I need your help, great. Like that's awesome, but that's not the goal of networking. The goal of networking is connection and getting you and your brand and your name out there. And so I think removing that pressure from yourself will help um, make that an easier route to walk down in order to get more listings.
Oh, 100%. And when you're in the same quote room, because I'm
Yeah.
referring to online networking, it actually feels so much
Mhm.
easier because again, you're in the same room with people who you're getting matched up with who
Yeah.
want to be there. It's not like you're going into, you know, a random
You're
chamber
not
event
walking
or
to
something.
Walmart
Yeah,
trying to, yeah, find new
yeah,
people.
exactly. And not sure like what their intentions are. So keep that in mind. Number two, we have existing listings, expired and canceled listings, and we have one more. What's the one more?
The
Amanda?
FISBOs, the for sale by owners. These are my favorite. These are the people who choose not to leverage an agent when selling their home.
Oh, and that's an interesting one
Yeah.
when it comes to that. And any idea of why people would do that versus going with the agent? Because I know that I've heard some stories that doesn't go very well when they're on their own sometimes. And there's a reason why you want to get an agent.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why you wanna have an agent in your corner. I think to answer your first question about why people choose to not leverage an agent, I think the answer honestly is because of that commission percentage, and I think a lot of people, when you're selling, at least in my state, the standard is 6%, 3% to the buyer's agent and 3% to the listing agent. Now, if we're talking about a high, volume home, that's a lot of money. And when you think about it, agents tend to get more money for the listings, right? So, like, you might market your house because you don't know anything about the market, not being a real estate agent. And so, when you try to sell your home on your own, you don't have the statistics, you don't know the current market, you don't know what it's going to be like. So a lot of agents are able to strategize and maybe list at a home. Let's say they want to list a home at 550. Right now we're seeing homes go for 150, $200,000 over ask price, but it's because of those strategies that the agents have put into place that have netted the seller more money, where that commission rate becomes irrelevant, right? You actually end up walking away with more money than you would say if you sold your house for 550 and no commission. I'll take
Yeah.
700 and giving you 6% all day over 550 and keeping it all to myself. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of other things. They get to leverage the multiple listing service where more eyes on your property is the goal. And
It's
so
true.
I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't. But there's also a lot of downside to not leveraging that. And real estate agents are trained negotiators, right? And so you want to be able to know what's important to fix in your house before you list it on the market, because a lot of times I actually, excuse me, my brother and sister, they were telling me all the repairs they wanted to do on their home. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Not all of these things are going to net you money. And you're going to end up spending a bunch of money on things that are cosmetic, right? And
Right.
someone might come in and be like, I don't like blue paint. I'm not buying this house. Or now I have to paint the whole house because it's blue. Um,
Yeah.
so just a little glimpse into the FISBO world. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's quite a few reasons, but there's also great opportunity for agents to really show their value there with those who don't feel like they want to leverage an agent.
Yeah, it's so true, and it goes back to that first one that we talked about, which is the networking,
Mm,
right? And they're the ones who are going to be
yeah.
having a bigger network, most likely, than you, the seller. So it's definitely worth it.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
almost as if relating it to the business world with the fact like why we hire coaches,
Mhm.
because we are one, we want their expertise, of course, so we want to get that support, but two, oftentimes it's their network that we're trying to tap into, and it's their
Oh,
network
for
that we
sure.
get connected with that takes us to that next level. So
Yeah.
it's almost like the training in itself was just the hook, and the
Yeah.
rest comes from having that connection now.
Oh, for sure. And there's a lot of times too where that network really, really pays off. Like I know there are tons of times where, in my state specifically, but I've done real estate in 5 different states now. But in Washington, we don't have coming soon property, so you can't list it before it's actually listed. But in
Oh,
other states, you can, where it's like this teaser, right? Hey, this property is coming soon. Well, and a lot of times when agents can leverage that network that they have,
yeah.
they're able to kind of say, "Hey, I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath coming up in Seattle, and cool, you might even be able to sell it off market without having to prepare your home or anything." And so there's a lot of win in that as well, leveraging that network that the agent has because they have an entire brokerage that they're affiliated with. They have other realtor friends in the area, so
So true. So true. And what do we have on number three coming up here, Amanda?
we sure do. This is probably one of my favorite ones, and I think this is an easy one, in my opinion. It's open houses, and a
Mm,
lot of agents buck at open houses, right? They think it's unless you're a newer agent, a lot of agents feel like open houses are for the newer agents to get their foot in the door and really learn, and that's great. But when you think about who are the people coming through open houses, they're buyers mostly, right? You have
yeah.
your nosy neighbors who just want to check it out. You've got your people who just like my parents love to go to open houses just because they're not in the market, they just wanna go. And so you've got those categories, but that probably accounts for like 10%. 90% of people I would say that come are actual buyers who are interested in purchasing a home. Now,
Yeah.
some of them might be first-time home buyers, some of them might be renters, but there's probably a good chunk of those buyers that are coming to your open house events that have a home to sell. So open houses are actually a great way to get, we call it in the business a twofer, right? You get a buy and a sell, which is great, right? And then when you can help someone 2 times at once and you do a great job, like that's a stellar referral to their people, right? Now you've extended your number 1 tip we're talking about today, your personal and professional network, because you've added them into your sphere and now you get access to theirs. So I think open houses are such a great tool.
I would agree, and I also, because here's, social media, the marketing part of things, I am thinking that it's so
Mhm.
awesome to have those opportunities, whether your open house is super slow or really busy. There are some great marketing opportunities that you can go
For sure.
forward with around that, and here's the thing, it may not even be for that exact listing. So, what I'm thinking is, let's say you have an extremely busy open house and you are the agent and you're thinking, I just don't have time to promote this because we got so many people coming in and
Sure.
out. Your chances are you're going to be there early or you're going to stay late. So use that opportunity to snap some photos and some video.
Mhm.
Let's not forget video, please. And use that even for a future listing. Like, it doesn't even have to be specific to that open house because you're just trying to get footage. You're just trying to get content that you can then share
Reuse,
later if you need to.
repurpose, yeah. Well,
Mhm.
in open houses, there's a lot of different strategies too that can get the listing, right? Like, cool, it's probably your listing if you're hosting it open, or it might be one that you've decided to step in, totally cool either way. But you can actually door knock, which we talked about a lot last week. You can actually
Yes.
door knock around your open house, and there's a few tons of different strategies around that. But the one I love the most is just telling the neighbors, "Hey, we have an open house. Just wanted to let you know." Because it's not a salesy approach, right? You're coming
Right.
from contribution and telling the neighborhood, "Hey, just wanted to let you know you might see some more traffic in the area today." We talked a lot about this last week, but
Yeah.
I think doing those things, um, anytime you can get FaceTime with people who might be interested in selling, because you never know, one of those neighbors might see their for sale sign in, Joe and Susie's yard and think maybe we should sell. And then you come and knock on their door and say, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know we're hosting it open today and tomorrow from 1 to 3. You might see some more traffic. Would love to invite you if you're curious." Now you have FaceTime with them.
Yeah.
Why the heck not?
Yeah, and for anybody who's curious, that was episode 8, from last week where we had
Mhm.
a guest, Thomas Leaf, who's a New Jersey real estate agent, and we talked a lot about door knocking, so you can
Yeah,
reference that episode if that's of interest. And that really goes into number 4 that we were talking about, already starting to talk about, I should say, is, content marketing, so social
yeah.
media. Using social media to help support your efforts both
Yes.
before, during, and after the
Yes.
list.
And this is one that I, and probably you too, really wanna speak on, because in my
Yes.
opinion, I think agents traditionally do this wrong. They they come from an approach of, and I don't think it's intentional, I wanna be clear
Sure.
in saying that, but they come from an approach of just listed, pending, sold, and it's all about them when you really look at it, and I
Yeah.
know that's not their intent. Their intent is to show, "Hey, I'm an agent, I'm selling things, use me."
Yeah.
But what does it look like when you actually, um, boost your client in that scenario? I'll give an example. I
Yes.
saw an agent once post this long thing on her Facebook page, which is fine. And it was, paragraphs upon paragraphs about how I helped her get $200,000 over list price, and I did this, and I sold it in 4 days, or, whatever the timeline was. And those are fine things to say. But at the end, she said, "Thanks to the client." And it felt like a me, 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 me post. And I was like, gosh, if I could have written this for her, what I would have done is said, let's say this was you, Ed, in your house. I would have said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Ed," or I would have posted it and said, "Ed just sold his house in the neighborhood. We set a record. Congrats to Ed because of all of his hard work in maintaining the home over the years and really working with a trained professional to get it set up properly so that we could achieve this goal. Congratulations, Ed. Your hard work paid off." That becomes client focused, right?
Yeah.
People love that because then you can tag your client in that, right? And then so I'm tagging, "Hey, congrats, Ed." Now
Right.
everyone on your page is seeing it. It doesn't feel salesy,
Yep.
and it's still showing the same statistics, right? It's still showing, "Hey, we sold it over ask. We sold it in 4 days." Like, but you're putting it on the client, which makes the client feel good, helps to
Yep.
solidify that relationship. but also taps into their number one tip here, professional and personal network that they have connected. So I'm a big believer in leveraging social media that way because I think when you can promote other people, that's what people buy into. That's what they
Right.
care about. They don't care how many listings you sold.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And the one piece that even just in that example that grabbed my attention, I'm still holding on to is you had mentioned about how in this example, I maintained the house over
Yeah.
the years. Just right there, for
Mhm.
me, that was a huge
Right?
statement because I felt connected.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't just, I did a nice paint job. It sounded like you really got to know me, which means I really got to open up as the seller. And so
Yeah.
that right there is huge.
When
And
you're honoring my hard work, right? If
yes,
I have like, my parents take such good care of their houses, and I know
yeah,
other people don't, and so some people treat their houses like crap, and that shows
yeah,
when you go to list it. But when you maintain that house, you are honoring their hard work. It was their work, you just came in and made it pretty.
right, right. And that was the thing too when you're thinking about the home part. And I know we're coming from a place of teachable moments and
Mhm.
learning. So if you are an agent who's feeling like we're calling you out, don't worry. It's you're here, you're
It's
learning,
totally
and
in
that's
love.
the whole point. Yes, it's all about that. Because listen, none of us were given our phones and our access to the internet with instruction manuals
Yeah.
on best ways to do XYZ, right? Like we've all been figuring it out as we go. And for some of you, you might be getting that training in terms of you should be posting on social media, but maybe you're not getting the right training in terms of how to properly write your post, how to reposition things, reframe it. And so that's why we're here to help with that. And
Well, and I
nobody's
think too, the goal
perfect.
is to set yourself apart, right? If every agent is posting just listed, pending, sold, how
Right.
can we differentiate ourselves to where we don't just become noise in the social platforms, right? Because I
Yeah.
scroll right past that stuff. You could write the most beautiful post ever, and I'll be
Oh,
honest, I
forget
just
it.
don't care about it because I'm like, just listed, cool. I mean,
Yep.
there's some strategy behind it. Like if I saw Ed had sold 4 and it just kept going, and I'm like, gosh, Ed's on a roll, but I don't read that. But when you start boosting the client and you start sharing those types of information and that level of connection, like, I'm curious about the story. I
Yeah.
wanna know how we got here. How did you get to this sale? How do you know this person? I love it when people are like, "Man, I just helped my childhood best friend sell her childhood home, and now she's moving on to this next adventure." That's what people care about. They wanna know that stuff because it in them says, "I could do that. Maybe I should do that," right? And so that's one of those non-salesy sales approaches where you can connect with the client and connect with your people at the same time,
Right. And
and
that's the
it
thing.
differentiates you.
Yes, and that's the thing. So for a few things that you want to pull out there, story. We all
Yes.
hear it all the time. Story, story, story. And
Mhm.
as an agent, you have stories and how you connected. I
Yeah.
love how you had mentioned, quote,
Mhm.
how did you get to the sale?
Yeah.
Because that's a great question that we all can think about. And that's actually what I ask even my clients all the time. Or I should say, not even my clients all the time, but the people that I'm connected with and I see them winning
Mhm.
and they're celebrating a sale, a new client, whatever it is. I'm always trying to ask them, how did you get there?
Yep.
Because it feels great to celebrate and it's awesome to finally get that win, but it's also important for us to take a step back to see how did we get there,
Mhm.
because especially when it comes to social media, a lot of people will overlook the fact that it's their social media
Mhm.
posts that got them that win.
Oh, for sure.
It might have not happened in that moment, like I didn't post and then get a sale, so
Mhm.
therefore it doesn't count. It is over time. And so it's hard because you don't have too many people in your corner
Mhm.
asking you those questions. And so I like to be able to do that because then it has them think, well, actually I don't really know. Or they said that they saw, my video or my post. And then it's like,
Yeah.
so you know that your social media works. It's just not going to always be in the moment giving you that sale.
Yeah, it's definitely I mean, it can be a short-term strategy, but it's definitely like it I'm in it for the long game and
Yes.
in every way. I want clients for life. I want my business to last for life, and I think most agents do too, but we tend to go for these short-term strategies of what's gonna get me leads now, but when you can tell a story, people connect with that, like, the story I gave of the agent,
Yep.
selling, kind of boosting her own stats, that was a couple years ago, and it has still stuck with me because it was a story, but it was a story, I don't wanna say poorly crafted, but but it's been years and I can still remember the story.
Yeah.
And so think about how the story impacts your people. Like if you post it and you connect with them, they might remember it 4 years from now. Like, man, Ed was in this situation as an agent. Ed did this and
Yeah.
now I'm in this situation. And so I'm gonna call Ed because I want to get my home for 200,000 over ask, or I want to set the neighborhood record, or I'm in a short sale and I don't know what to do. But Ed posted 4 years ago that he helped someone sell a short sale and they didn't think they could net any money. And here he is netting money. There's a
Yep.
lot of ways that telling the story can continue to be beneficial for you. And here's the cool
Yes.
part about Facebook, and I know you know this, Ed, is I love leveraging Facebook memories. That's probably
Yes.
99% of the reason I post anything on social media is because I do it every day. Literally,
Yep.
I check my Facebook memories every day. And so if you're a real estate agent not posting to your social media, your personal one, I highly suggest you do it because let's say I post and you can post it from your company page and then just share it onto your personal, but I highly encourage it because then year after year, one, it'll trigger you that it's their home anniversary or whatever,
Right.
but two, you can reshare it. You can reach out. Like it becomes a really great way to stay connected with these people and continue to share the story.
Yes, and that's the beauty. And here's the thing: we're spending a little extra time on this number 4 because it's really, really important. And another part of that I wanted to share is that if you're thinking, okay, but I really do like just posting my just listed, and how do I make this a story
Yeah.
because people aren't going to read the description of the photo? Well, here's the thing: lean in moment.
Lean in. Here
You're
it is.
going to want to use video,
Mhm.
leverage video. Ideally, I want to push you to live video, and there's lots of reasons why we don't have to go over it right now, but um, I will take pre-recorded video if that's all that you
Mhm.
can get right now. Like whatever it is, that's how you can bring your post to life and
Yeah.
start to get people to tie in.
Big time.
You know, it's really cool. I'm gonna actually, for those who are watching us live, I'm actually gonna share my screen. That's the beauty when you tune into the actual live episode. But I'm gonna share my screen on
Oh, look
LinkedIn
who
right
we are.
now. We're streaming live on a few different platforms, but I'm gonna show LinkedIn. And what's cool is it replaced my banner. So if you ever go to a LinkedIn profile, at the top there's usually an image. It's a banner. And then when you're live, this is what you see. You see our live video at the top. So it promotes it in the news feed. It also promotes it at the top of my profile. And so people can see that when they're there. And it's really awesome when you can do that. Now, the other thing I want to point out is this post that I shared yesterday, and I'm going to talk about it. But for those who are looking, it's a long post. It's really, I had to actually trim it down a little bit just to fit as an actual post on LinkedIn. And I'm going to put this picture here just to kind of leave it there for a second,
Just to make us drool a little.
just to make you drool a little here in the morning, right? Hopefully you're not having this for breakfast. I'm just going to say that from the health net
Hey,
side,
it's
but
almost lunchtime for me, so I can have this.
there you go. And I do have some requests that I need to do a live video of me making this. I don't know if
Yes,
that's going to happen, but we'll see. Um,
I think it should.
and so the reason I bring this up and why I'm sharing this image with you is ties into social media. And I'm going to use this, I'm going to give you a quick recap of this story because it ties into what we're talking about here. And agents, you can adapt this to whatever it is that you're doing in your business. But it was the weekend yesterday. It was the day after Christmas, and I wanted to go to brunch. So I was trying to figure out what restaurants were open and which ones I was going to go to. And I will tell you right now that this is just one of many stories, both personally and others who I know are out there connecting with me in the comments and DMs and everything. Happens to us all. The weekend, especially when it comes with restaurants, the weekend comes, we want to look at where should we go? Where
Uh-huh.
can we go out and eat?
Yeah, what
And
are we doing?
yeah, what are we doing? Like, what's open, what's not? Even if it's not a holiday, that's
Yeah.
normal, but especially if it's a holiday weekend.
Well, now
And
with COVID, it's tricky too.
yes, and that's the thing. There's so many different hours, things
Yep.
are open and closed on different days, which is why it's important if you have a business and agents, this includes you, you want to make sure you're using social media to update because here's the thing. There are no excuses for you not to update on
Yeah.
social media. I know whatever excuse you're filling in with the blank right now, you're going to say something and I'm just going to tell you there's no excuse because if I was asking you to update your website, I get it. It's complicated. It involves code. It's just too much for you to
Mhm.
handle. So I'm going to give you grace on that. That's fine. Not everyone can do that and shouldn't do that. But because social media is easy to access from your phone, chances are you're already using it to watch people and maybe post every so often. There's no excuse for you not to post an update for your business, even if it's just we're closed,
Yep.
we're open, I need listings, I'm available, whatever. I don't
Mhm.
care. You should use it. And the reason why is for this exact story from yesterday. So, holiday weekend, day after, I want to go to brunch. I don't know what's open. I look up 3 restaurants, count them, 3. The first one was the one that I spent the most time trying to find out if they were open. I went to their website, no updates. I went to Instagram, which was great. They had an Instagram account, but no updates since May. I went to their Facebook page, which was great because I figured they would have more updates there because Facebook is
Yeah.
still a leading contender, right? And it's easier to post your content on Facebook because you don't have to have an image
Mhm.
in order to post.
Very
I
true.
just
You don't have to
I just
create
wanna
anything.
yeah, I just wanna, like, let that sit for a second because everyone tries to jump on the Instagram bandwagon, and I'm not necessarily hating on Instagram even though we have our issues. Um, but, everyone right, Amanda? I mean, everyone
Yeah.
stresses about the image that they're gonna put on
Well, and they want
Instagram.
it to be perfect, and that's another great point is it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, you can go to
No.
Google and say, "Get a picture of a clock," and then post your hours. Like,
Yes.
you don't have to go and brand everything, and I mean, if you can and have time and want to, great, but it's
Yep.
not a need. But I
No,
definitely
and
agree with you where you could just, at the bare minimum on your Facebook, update your hours in a post.
yes.
Today is the day after Christmas, we'll be open 10 to 6.
Yes, because it's so much less stressful to do that and not worry about the perfect Instagram
Yeah.
profile, which by the way, spoiler alert, we finally have entered into a world where you don't need to have I mean, you never needed to have that. That was never my thing either. But majority of people actually are starting to prefer not
Mhm.
to have a curated perfect thing because they know it's too much work and really it just
It's not real
who
life
no,
either. Like, I wanna be
exactly.
real and authentic and me, and so I'm gonna post the not great moments as well as the great moments. It just is what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah. Um, so anyway, with the story is that the 3 restaurants, the first one I did went to the website, Instagram, Facebook, none of which had updates since April, as far back as April.
Wow.
Yeah, it kills me. I see this every day from
We
so many
need
businesses.
you.
Yeah. And so then they did have a phone number on their Facebook page, so that was great. I could call them, but after 15 rings, there was no answer. And that tells me they're
Wow.
either busy or closed. And I'm not going to try to
Yeah.
figure out if they were open or not after that. So went to restaurant number 2. I just went to their Instagram. They didn't post within the last week or 2, maybe. I said, forget it, not going there. So finally went to number 3, which worked out. They were amazing. I think it was either the latest post or within the last 3 days they had posted. And in that post, they specifically said they would be back open on the 26th, which was yesterday, the day after Christmas.
There you go.
That's all I needed to know. And guess which restaurant out of the 3 made
That
$100
one.
yesterday just off of Facebook?
Them, because they were
Yep.
updating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just understand that that is just a
Mhm.
small example of what happens when you post. Now, will restaurant 1, 2, and 3 ever know my story?
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, not unless they're following me on social and they're paying attention to this and thinking, "Ooh, maybe that was me." Um, but at least I'm sharing the story to help you understand the importance of social media,
Yeah.
which hopefully triggers something for you. And if not you, hopefully you'll share that with somebody else, which this story has already been shared, thankfully, a few times on different platforms. Thank you for those who have been sharing it.
Shout
And
out.
I used this image versus just a photo of me because originally I thought, oh, I'll just take a selfie, or because I was after the restaurant, so I wasn't actually at the restaurant. Spoiler alert: this is not from the restaurant I went to, um, but it's one of those things that I wanted to tie in a photo that caught people's attention, but also was relevant. And
Yeah.
because I was talking about restaurants and food and dining, I thought this is one that is probably going to work. So let me just do it. And
Yeah.
lo and behold, it has because people are commenting on the Oreo. I don't know. It's like Oreo chocolate pudding whipped cream
It looks amazing. Don't they
shake,
call
I
it like a
guess.
trifle or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looks amazing, and, I'm a little tempted to make it, so
I
we'll see.
know. I think you should. I think we need a live tutorial on it. I love that
So
story though, because I think I'm the perfect person at this. Like I do not or not perfect person at this. I'm the perfect like example of someone who will go to your Facebook to see if you've like, even when clients call me for client nurture solutions, like,
yeah,
I go to their page to see how often and even though my lane doesn't dabble a ton in social media, like, I wanna know how active they are because that tells me a ton about the agent, right? It tells
oh,
me
yeah,
how engaged they are. I got off the phone with, an agent not too long ago who is just so dialed in, and if you go to his page, you'll see that, and so it mirror matches. He's dialed in on his social media. He's dialed in when he chats with me on the phone, and that's great. That's
yeah,
awesome. But then there's other agents who just wait till they have a sale and then they post. And so what does that show? Like if I'm trying to find a real estate agent in my area to sell or help me buy, and I go to your page, let's say I'm going today and you haven't posted since April, like that one restaurant, like I'm going to say, is this the real estate agent for me? He doesn't seem very
yes,
busy.
exactly, and
But if I go to someone else and they're posting listing of the week, just sold, pending, here's the story. I'm out door knocking. I'm like, I want this guy in my corner. Heck yeah.
yes, yes, and I will tell you, I've had people reach out to me who ask me about their agents.
Yeah.
This is crazy, but I've had people ask me about their agents and the work that they're doing with social media because they felt that their agent wasn't supporting them in selling their home to the full
Yeah.
effect because they weren't using social media and some of the free tools that are just like, yeah, why aren't you doing that? Like,
Yeah.
what? So I've had people who ask me that, and it's that's crazy. Like,
Mhm.
as an agent, you should be leveraging these types of tools, especially when it comes to social media, because there's so many free options that you can leverage and
Yep.
actually don't take a whole lot of time out of your day either. And then you can just check that box if
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to do.
Easy peasy. I love it.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up with number 5 on the list here. What's number 5, Amanda?
Number 5 is interviewing businesses and other professionals.
This is a big one, and it
I
ties
love
back
this one.
into what we were talking
Mhm.
about, and being able to have conversations with those who are around you and around your area and around your network, and being able to leverage those conversations into other business opportunities. Amanda, I know you were talking about this earlier before the show
Yeah.
with us.
I think it's a great opportunity. I think every real estate agent, if they're not already doing this, should be doing this, but building out what I call a vendor list. Like,
Mhm.
let's put all of your trusted movers, plumbers, electricians, CPAs, like you name it, churches, whatever the list is, so that when anyone is moving or buying or selling with you, they have this great network of people that you trust, you've vetted. What a great service that is to say, "Hey, Ed, thanks for buying a home with me. Should you need anything in the future, I have this vetted list of," and you can have a few of them on it.
Yeah.
And you can even partner with these people to say, hey, I'm going to pass you referrals. I'd love it if you pass me referrals. Like if you're in someone's home and they're talking about buying or selling, cool, pass me along. And anytime anyone needs plumbing work, whether they're my sellers and we're in the middle of negotiations or whatever, I'm going to go to you. You're going to be my go-to guy. But that's a huge contribution and value add to the seller or the buyer that you have this vetted list,
Yes.
because that saves me a bunch of time, right? If I only have to call 1, 2, or 3 names that you already trust as my agent versus 1,000, I'm in. Great. And you also can have some pull with that. One of my clients, I've seen them go back and forth on, with a roofer, and they can't find any roofer. And so he just called his people, and the seller was like, I need a new roof. And this agent went and called all of his roofing companies. None of them could do it. And he said, hey man, I've passed you a ton of referrals. How can you help me get my client's roof
Yes.
fixed today or tomorrow or whatever? How insane is that? But it's awesome and it's easy and you get leverage. And a lot of the times there's so many ways that you can partner with them even outside of just referrals, right? Hey, if
Yeah.
you offer, $25 off your service, I'll put you in my listing presentation book, or I'll do this, or you can make it a win-win for both of you, where they're getting leads, you're getting leads, and it just becomes this beautiful partnership. And then you
Yeah.
can take it a step further, which you were talking about, Ed, and interviewing these people and
Yes.
doing it on a live show. How cool is that? Like if you were a plumber right now and I'm the real estate agent or an electrician or general contractor, like people would get to know you and then they're like, man, this Ed guy's really cool. I want him to work on my house. So you're
Yes.
getting the leads. I'm getting to show value. I'm getting to be the local expert, and I'm getting to vet future businesses and services for my people.
Yes.
Win-win all around.
And that's our extra bonus here is that's what I love being able to work with clients on is
Mhm.
creating their show, having a live show. And when I say live show, I'm talking about video specifically, but that carries over to those who are thinking about podcasting because
Yeah.
it's easy to repurpose this when you have a strategy in place. And so it's really, really important to understand that when you have a show, that is leverage for you to be able to
Yeah.
connect with others that you may not have connected with before, or maybe were afraid to because you didn't really have like something that you could offer them
Mhm.
of value, right? And so having a show is that value add, and
Mhm.
you're able to bring people on just like what we do here on this show and the
I've
people
gotten
that we're
3 new
bringing.
connections just out of you alone, Ed.
Yes.
Like, and
Yes.
all thanks to this show, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten 3 new people in my network on various different places of the US just because you and I do the show together. It's phenomenal and so easy.
That's what I love hearing. See, you guys
Yeah,
are hearing and seeing me geek out over this stuff
yeah,
because that's what I love, and that's the power of this. And see, I would have never listen, for those who are listening, I would have never known that. This is the first
yeah,
I'm hearing of it, right? And it's because Amanda is taking that next step for her to share it with me slash
yeah,
all of us. Not everyone's going to do that, and that's okay. But understand that there's power in what you do. And that's why I say
um,
show up, deliver, and engage. Because when you do that consistently, things will come your way. They
yeah,
will work out. And leveraging live streaming video and having a show that can both be video and audio is amazing. And it will do wonders for your business. And we're only on week 9.
yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And that's like a third of the weeks I've gotten a new connection, which I think is awesome. And these people might not be clients for me. Actually, technically 4, because one
Yes.
of them passed me to another person. So 4 new connections just because of knowing you, Ed. But I think there's so many ways you can repurpose this. Like I'm even thinking, let's say I'm the agent and you're an electrician.
Yeah.
Maybe I do a show once a week or once a month where you come on and you give electrical tips, like how to keep your home electrically safe or something. I don't know, not my lane of expertise
Right.
clearly, but maybe you talk about how to, things you want to do around your house to make sure that it stays in good condition. Well, now I can take that video, I can send it out to all of my past clients and say, hey, just did this really cool show in case you're interested. I love it.
Yes.
So easy. So you went live, you engaged with your social platform, and now you can repurpose it and send it to your past clients. So you're getting a client touch, all because
Yes.
you gave, I don't know, it could even be 10 minutes on Facebook as a
Yeah.
live show. And you
Yeah.
can even just interview this person. Hey, I did this great interview with Ed. He's an electrician. Wanted to pass it along. I vetted him. If you need an electrician, please use him. Watch this video if you're curious to learn more about Ed and his electrical business.
Yep. And that's the beauty. I call it the live effect because there's all these things that happen afterwards, most of which you
Yeah.
probably won't even know until that day comes where somebody's like, hey, I watched your video.
Yeah.
And I love how earlier you brought up in the show, Amanda, 4 years goes by
Mhm.
and somebody comes out of the woodworks. That happens. And that's
Yeah.
the beauty of these
All the
videos.
time.
Yeah, these videos live on. And I've had that happen on Facebook specifically. After 2 years, somebody had contacted me because
Mhm.
they just saw my video, but it was 2 years old. And
Yeah.
they still reached out though. And so understand that that's going to continue to happen even more so here in 2022 because video is dominating and it's going to be over 80% of all internet traffic. So really, really leverage video. And
Mhm.
if you need help, please reach out because there are different ways that
Yeah.
I can help you with. I can refer you to people like whatever you need between Amanda and I, we got you covered. And we're going to
Yeah.
be able to help support you in your business and help you crush your goals in 2022 because this is our last episode of the year, I
Oh my
believe.
gosh, of 2021.
Yes, yes. I'm like, is that crazy? I'm just checking the calendar because
I know, I
I'm
was like,
pretty
"That can't
sure.
be right," and then I was like, "No,
Yeah.
next week is January 3rd. It is
Yep.
right."
Yep. So that's our fun part is that we're ending this year
Yeah.
with 9 episodes in the bank for a show that we decided to just start on a whim.
Yeah.
And Amanda's got four connections just from this, which is awesome.
So cool. I love it.
All right. Well, we are unless you got anything else, Amanda, we'll wrap up
No,
this
I'm good.
episode. All right, cool. So if you just tuned in, you had the 5 ways to get more listings. We covered them. I put some show notes on Facebook. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, just comment and
Over
I'll
there.
give you a quick heads up wherever you need it if you're looking for something specific. And then if you need anything, please reach out to Amanda or I on whatever social platform you're on. Instagram and I just aren't mixing very well lately. So if you can't connect over there, be sure to just connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook for sure. Most likely LinkedIn. But we hope that you had a good holiday weekend and that you have a fun, safe New Year's. And we'll see you back here in the new year on Monday,
Whoop,
January
whoop.
3rd at 8 a.m. And until next time, take care.